Open innovation is one aspect of that innovation process. We will briefly see what open innovation is, and we will put our effort to make you understand that open innovation is an important component. So if you really wanted to grow faster, open innovation is the only way that you could do. So what is open innovation? Start from a point where you wanted to commercialize an idea, and in the process you work with the others and bring what you are looking for, a specific technology need, into your organization so that you can achieve what you would like to achieve as a product, process, or service. I have a great idea to make the best pastries in the world. So I decided to start a bakery. The core expertise or the idea or the technology that I have is, how to make the best pastries. So in order to do that, you need ovens, right? You need equipments, and you need to get the ingredients, basically the raw material in making the pastries. And when I start a bakery, I need to acquire all. Should I start from scratch, from identifying the specifications for the equipment or the ingredients that I'm going to use? So now to make my pastry, I am defining certain conditions which are not available in the market. So I'm not going to make my oven for my own use. So what I do, I look for oven manufacturing companies and I will find out whether they can provide what I'm looking for. And remember, my expertise in making the good pastries with a fixed condition at a particular temperature and time, and with a particular raw material composition. That is what I know. But I am not going to really create an oven for that condition if it is not available in the market. So I'll seek help from a company which will make the oven, but I'm going to give them input and say whether they can provide me that technology, right? The same thing would be with my ingredients. So some cases you need to have certain quality of your flour. And if it is something that unique, I'm suggesting, then I'm not going to have my own grain or the flour. I'm going to ask the guys who are going to supply me to give me what I'm looking for. So I really need to chart out and say that these are all things I need to accomplish or to get my pastry at a particular taste. I am taking those needs, then I will look for where I will get. My end product needs something, then I break down into what are the things I need. So that we call that in a science-based innovation, that we said technology needs. So I may not be an expert in that technology is needed to create my final product, process, or a service, but I am very sure what I need to get to achieve my final product, process, or service. So once I get that need, then I will look for it, right? Where is it available? If you are an organization, then you will see whether I can get that knowledge from anybody within the organization. I will first float within the organization whether anybody has any knowledge. So don't underestimate that the people are not in R&D cannot bring any knowledge. If it is not available, no one is coming and saying that, hey, we have no knowledge about it. We are not expert in it. But somebody might say, hey, but I know there are people who have this knowledge in this industry, and we can, go and approach them, and they'll be willing to give that knowledge to us. I'm in need of it, and you have it and you give it, then I'll make certain agreements with the conditions. First of all, what you are giving, how you are giving, and what are the conditions, what's the timeline, and what is the financial conditions for that. When we make such an agreement, then you buy that technology. In buying that technology, there are several ways. You can co-develop, or you can license, or outright purchase, right? That exclusivity comes in, that you can completely take it for you. You wanted to achieve certain things in your technology project, which is we call that innovation process. In the innovation, that you are looking for a particular technology that which is not available within your organization, then you go and look for outside of your organization to acquire that. So it is very important you identify what are the technology needs, chart it down, then you go and look for outside, then you make an agreement. When both the parties agree, then you bring that technology to you, right? If it is a solution available externally, just use it. Gone are the days that it used to be very proud moment telling that it is invented here. That's it. That's a slogan that lots of companies are very proud of. And those days are gone. And today, if you take any big organization, starting from Procter and Gamble in consumer product, or you take the building blocks company Lego, everybody use open innovation. So now the question is, very few percentage of companies do it very successfully. Time is one big factor. The reason is the world is very competitive. If I don't do it, somebody else will do. Because market is competitive, time is a big factor. If you take a standard product development cycle, starting from an idea to market, it takes about 5 to 7 years. Open innovation, what it does is, it is very good to start shorten that time, right? Because I am not going to do every aspect of it to make a product. But the one critical step I will do, the remaining 9 steps I outsource. Remember, our ultimate aim to be a successful business, which we call the successful innovation. So you save lots of time. So the second thing will be investment. Investment, we mean it is your cash. The financial aspects of it is very important for you, because making a product, process, or service, it involves lots of financial commitments, right? So when you are for sure for your whole process takes this much time, and in between you don't want to lose your money into some other areas where you don't have expertise, that you wanted to start from scratch. For example, you have resources only for 4 people in your project, and you don't want to get 2 more experts for at a higher rate, because they are experts in their domain knowledge and you don't have it, and you have to pay lots of it, right? So you don't want to do that. Instead of that, can I get particular technology itself from outside, and you can pay that money? Then your constraints will be gone. That money you can use it for developing your core technology. So initially, your product you may not be selling, and you need marketing expenditure. You have lots of other expenditure. You don't want to put all your money into your research and development, right? So if it is available, some portion of it you acquire it from outside. And the third is market, right? This is very important, because if your time and your money, that will affect how you are going to position your product, process, or service in the market. So if you spend lots of money, then your cost goes up, then it is going to affect your customer base. That is going to be a challenge when you really overspend your money. So the time and your financial aspect will decide on your market position. It will reduce your exposure for failure, right? I put so much effort, and after at the end, if I cannot make it also, then it's also a failure, because I cannot capture the market. 3 aspects are very important, right? To have an open innovation. Time is one factor, your financial aspect is another factor, then the market, right? How you will position your product, process, or service is also will influence for you to go for open innovation, right? This plot where you have market versus time or investment for any product that or a process or a service, right? You have a product cycle, we call that, where you start is called an S curve, where you introduce your product, process, or service, then you go to the next level of scaling up. I should be prepared to have a scale up capability. But remember, every product has a life cycle. So it goes, then it matures, then it plateaus. That's it. The reason for that is the next cycle of getting a new product comes in, right? So that is, again, as time goes, your expectation or need for the market also changes with the time, right? So it goes up higher. In old times, at least a decade for you get a improved product. Today, everything has to be very much shortened. So you reduce to introduce one product to the next level within short time. In a shorter period, you really have to work quickly, and open innovation is the best way you can achieve that. How do you compare that with your own development of doing all the technologies in-house? Because we will spend lots of time, right, in doing trial and error, and or even if it is a known area, right, you invest in several methods to arrive at what will be the best, and you may fail. In failing, so you increase the time to take more to come up with your product that you promised your customer or your market. That is what we call the technology paradox. The open innovation option is you identify what is required, right? Then you do a technology scouting. So to achieve your final product, process, or service, I need this. Can I get outside of my organization that technology so that I can use it to achieve my final product, process, or service, right? So this will accelerate my product or process or service launch in the market much earlier, so that I can win over my competitors. And this will spread also risk of, because imagine if every technology that I'm going to acquire, they must have done an R&D and they have the best solution, which will is a working solution. And if I start doing myself, my failures are going to be much higher, right? Here for sure I can acquire that and produce it, right? And use it for what I need for. Put together, the main thing is reduce your cost. Then your time to introduce your product, process, or service. We don't have to have all the knowledge. We are leveraging somebody's knowledge. The open innovation, it is not only for the bigger organization for looking for what is available outside. It is the smaller organizations which they develop. They can also help other organizations to succeed with their knowledge. If a solution is available externally, use it. So we have methodologies that how you manage that, right? So that is what we can help you. If it is something that starting from identifying your technology need, then do scouting. For everything involves, there are aspects that what you need to look for and look into. Then you put that in practice so that your translation of acquiring technologies to your use will be successful without any loss or time taken. All that aspects is part of open innovation, which we can help with. In a summary, we wanted to just say open innovation is a collaborative effort, right? You work with others and your risk of failure is spread, leading to a thriving enabling ecosystem. We can say, instead of invented here syndrome, we can say proudly acquired from outside. But the final product is ours, and which provide the best in class what customer needs and cater to the market need. Right? So that's what we end. Thank you, guys.